Hello, Facebook fans and YouTube fans of DX Engineering. It is Friday afternoon here in the Eastern time zone of the USA. It's time for the weekend special, and we have got a great special today. We have a very special guest. It's Chris, W4WF, and we're going to talk about the Florida QSO Party. Hello, Chris.
Tim, great to see you.
It's great to see you. Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself first.
All right. My name is Chris. I am young for a ham. I'm 41 years of age. I have lived in Florida now for 19 years. I moved here shortly after college. I am the president of the Florida Contest Group, which is a statewide contest club that was founded in Florida in the early 1990s. We have, give or take, 300 members, and the Florida QSO Party this weekend is our flagship event. We are really proud to sponsor a great contest that offers a lot of fun for our friends all over the U.S. and all over the world. I live in Orlando, Florida, right in the center of the state. I am a CW operator primarily, but I'm not above finding a microphone occasionally. And I will be on the air this weekend in the Florida QSO Party. I'll be signing as one of the 1x1 special event calls. So I'll be one of the operators of Kilo 4 Radio.
So, Chris, let's talk about the 1x1s and how everybody can get involved with the 1x1s.
Sure thing. So, Florida has 67 counties, and for one of the objectives of an event like a state QSO party is to work all 67 counties and find somebody. A lot of the counties have a fixed station in them. Not all of them do. Some of the counties will only be activated by mobiles. About 10 or 15 years ago, we thought, it's tough if you come in late or you only have part of the weekend. It's really difficult to operate and catch the entire, have the opportunity to work a sweep of all 67 counties. It's difficult enough as it is. So we thought, let's get something that's a little bit more approachable for maybe a ham who only does one mode or the other, a ham who only has, a few hours or little islands of time throughout the weekend. So we started doing these, we call them spelling bees. A lot of the state QSO parties do them now. And our first one was in 2012 for the 15th Florida QSO Party. We had 15 1x1s on the air, and the suffix is spelled Florida QSO Party. 15 letters, no repeats. It was really serendipitous. And we had such great success that drove so much additional participation. People said they really enjoyed this chase, with all these stations active. It was good, we thought, for everybody. So we've repeated it every year. We've had 1x1s every year since then. It's been enormously successful. This year, we have 12 stations on the air. We're spelling, and I'm wearing the appropriate shirt today. We're spelling citrus, Citrus, twice. So we've got stations with the K4 prefix and an N4 prefix, and then the suffixes of each of those will spell citrus.
And those are all 1x1s, right?
Correct. Yes.
So, and what do you get if you work 2 citrus?
Well, if you work 6, if you spell the word, you get a certificate. And you get a great deal of satisfaction to know that you chased down these stations that were on. If you can work all 12, you get an endorsed certificate. That'll be good. A couple of the stations will be, I think this year they'll all be mixed mode, but a couple of them will be much more heavily on one mode than another. So You'll have to probably work both phone and CW, but we'll give you a certificate. You get we put a list of everybody who works all the stations. We put into the write-up that we do after the contest, so you'll get your call sign in the results. There's no prizes. Just like in most contests, we can't give away, other than the Bermuda contest 50 years ago, nobody's giving away prizes anymore, but satisfaction and personal achievement.
Well, and that's good enough, Chris. Let's look in the chat room here, and we've got 2 Echo Zero Radio Echo is in from the UK, and also Alpha Delta 8 India Tango is in, William. And Kilo Golf 2 Mike, who is down in Florida, says, hello, Tim and Chris from Mike in Jacksonville. I'll be working the Florida QSO Party this weekend with the Florida QSO or Florida Contest Group in Duval County. And X-Ray Echo 2 Zulu is on with us. And also Kilo 1 Yankee Oscar United is on. And he's in Venice, and so that's great. Let's see, we've got some others here. Dan, WA4 Mike Oscar Mike is on with us. Only 3 weeks to go till Hamvention. And John Knott from the great Hamcation. John is on. Good luck this weekend, and see you all in a couple of weeks up in Dayton. And Amy is on. November 8 Alpha Mike Yankee, and she'll be operating the Florida QSO Party with P-Cars, and P-Cars is one of the Club of the Year, and Kate Bravo Fox and Bobby Kilo Fox 5 Golf Tango X-Ray. I hope they're not all working FT8.
Well, Bobby, you'll find plenty of people from Florida on FT8, but the FQP remains CW and sideband only. So no digital in the FQP.
All right, Chris. And also Juan is on. Kilo 4 Tango Charlie Golf Expedition mode tomorrow. So that's great stuff as well. Chris, give us a little bit of history on the Florida QSO Party.
Thanks, Tim. I put a little bit together because I thought you might ask me this. So in the early 90s, which doesn't seem like that long ago, but gosh knows it was 30 plus years ago, K4OJ and K1TO and WD4AHZ and a handful of other folks who were on the west coast of Florida at the time were driving through the state to go to Hamfests and go to FCG meetings and things. And the story, as I heard it, is that Jim White said, boy, I bet some of these interior Florida counties where there's no people and no hams, I bet they're really rare on the county hunters, the USA county hunter groups. And K1TO said, I bet that there could be a contest there. There could be a way to get a lot of activity in a contest. And that was in probably 94, 95. By 1997, they had picked a weekend, set out the rules, and the first Florida QSO Party was held in 1997. And the rules were substantially similar. K1TO did most of the rule drafting back then, as he still is very involved today. And he had, as you would not be surprised, he had definite ideas about the best way to do it. And he said, we need to incentivize people to get on the high bands and work, not chase other Florida counties. We want people to get on and work the, W8 and W9 and Europe to the extent that they can. So we set the rules up so that stations inside of Florida don't get any multipliers for working other Florida counties. Their multipliers are all states, provinces, and DXCC countries. And the other side of that coin is if you're on in this contest from W3 or W8 or W9, there's plenty of Floridians who are on to work, so you're never bored and having to really strain your ears on 80 meters in the middle of the day trying to hear mobiles in Florida from Ohio. So the contest started like I say, in 1997 was the first one. Log growth was really strong. We had year-on-year growth every year until probably 2015. We would have, every year was another record year in terms of log submissions, in terms of total number of QSOs. The contest continued to grow very strongly. We had a great year in 2020, although the year for everybody else, in every other respect wasn't outstanding. But because everybody was home, they didn't have much to do except turn on the radio. So we had participation was huge. We had more logs from Europe than we'd ever had, which was outstanding. In a year when propagation was not super great, we had, we set a bunch of records, and we've really tried to keep that central to planning the event and any changes that we make. We want to make sure that we're centered on this idea of making it the most fun for the biggest group of folks. And we understand our constituency is the people who are a skip zone away from us. W8, W9, W3, that's the sweet spot. And we want to make sure that if we make a change, that it enhances the event for the most number of people. We understand the flip side of that. And if we get anybody on from Georgia or South Carolina, they'll say, geez, it's really slow for me because, 20 meters is skipping over my station all day. And, I can only work 40 meters. And I wouldn't say they're wrong. But, we've really tried to keep it centered on making it as productive as possible for everybody.
So, Chris, talk about the website.
So we have what we think is a pretty good website. Thanks to shout out to our webmaster, who is your friend and mine, KU8E. Jeff does an outstanding job. The Florida Contest Group has a pretty extensive website, and then the Florida QSO Party website gets a ton of traffic this time of the year. We have results, articles, records, line scores, almost any analysis that you would want to do on previous events we have on the website. We do a lot with N05W, K3LR. I'm sure I'm going to forget somebody who does a ton, which is, makes me a little bit nervous. But N05W does a great job with mapping out planned mobile activities, so that if you're trying to work a county sweep, what days the mobiles are going to go through what counties. So Washington County is going to only be on Sunday afternoon. So everybody that wants to get a sweep is going to have to be on the right band at the right time and to follow this mobile. And you'll hear, as if you're from outside the state, it's mostly on 20 CW, and you'll hear the mobile, and they'll call CQ as they're going along, and as they get closer and closer to the county line, they're identifying every time they call CQ. And as soon as they cross the county line and their identifier changes and they call CQ, and it's stroke WAL for Walton instead of stroke FRA for Franklin or whatever. As soon as that changes, it's just like Bouvet for that mobile for 15, 20, 30 minutes as everybody, all of the out-of-state guys are calling them. And it's just it's a ton of fun if you can contrive a way to do it. It's really a blast.
Well, Chris, it's very impressive as president of the Florida contest group that hosts this great QSO party, and the legacy of K4OJ and the brains of K1TO, that you've kept this thing really going, and it is an amazing QSO party. So thanks to you, Chris.
Well, thank you, Tim. I couldn't do the hard work without a great team. You mentioned K1TO. Dan still does 100% of the log checking for the event. We've tried to get him some help, and we've wanted him to not quite work so hard, and he just can't let it go. And he says, no, that way I know it'll be done the way that he wants it done. So he's very particular about that. But I couldn't do it without him. I couldn't do it without the ham that does our publicity is Chris Blake, NX4N. He's outstanding. He does a great job contacting. He reaches out to CQ Contest, but he also does a lot of work on an individual and a club basis within Florida with other clubs around the world that have concurrent events. There's a RIDI contest this weekend. There's the UK EIDX contest is this weekend. Many times, but not this year, the Helvetia contest from Switzerland is also this weekend. Chris coordinates with all those folks and does a really good job. And he's really the spiritual successor to K4OJ, who, if you were on the CQ contest list before OJ passed away 20 years ago, you would remember his post, and he would post the week after the FQP and say, by the way, only 358 days to go till next year's FQP.
Well, he was a tireless promoter, and we miss him. But Chris, thanks so much for everything you do and the rest of the Florida contest group, and also your hospitality during Hamcation. If you haven't been to the Florida contest group's contest dinner, it is absolutely great. And DX Engineering is proud to be one of the sponsors there. So,
yes, indeed. Thank you, Tim. And it's a little bit different take on the contest dinner, maybe a little more relaxed, a little more Southern, but
that's okay.
We are not above having an open bar and free beer, and that does tend to lubricate things quite nicely.
All right, Chris, thanks so much. And tomorrow we will enjoy the Florida QSO Party. Thanks so much for being here, Chris. Go to FloridaQSOParty.com for more information on the contest. Get on the air, have some fun this weekend, and talk to Florida. And
perfect. We'll see you at 1600 Zulu tomorrow.
All right. Sounds great, Chris.
All right. Thank you, Tim.
Very much. And 73 to everybody. We'll see you next time from DX Engineering.